Of the Scottish Open in this Eurosport Home Nation Series, and Dave Gilbert getting us underway. Not Mark Selby, as we expected, the defending champion. We've had 4 different winners of this event since the series started back in 2016. Marco Fu, Neil Robertson, Mark Allen, and of course Selby last year when he defeated Jack Blazowski. Can Selby buck that trend this year and successfully defend the title? Only Judd Trump has managed that in the Home Nations. He's done it twice, of course, in the Northern Ireland Open, beating Ronnie O'Sullivan in all 3 of those finals. But for Matthew Stevens, well, definitely signs of late of some of the old magic. Of course, he's a former UK Masters champion, twice a world finalist. And as Andy and Ken were discussing there, one of the great cueists of the last 20 years or so, without having quite the CV that perhaps his talent Joe deserved. Are you awake?
Yes, it was a late night, wasn't it? Very, very exciting though. It took some coming down for the commentators, I can tell you. I don't know how the players felt.
Yeah, and I'll just say I agree completely with Ken. I think Judd Trump was very harsh on himself when he talked about a lack of bottle. I think they punched themselves almost to a standstill by the end of the match and could barely see the balls, never mind the pockets. And anything was missable at that stage. But congratulations to Neil Robertson, a great win for him. And Judd Trump, well, he's already had a fantastic record-breaking run of success. He'll be back very shortly.
Yes, he hasn't to be too hard on himself, like you say, because everybody, and I mean everybody, has missed pressure balls. And the amount that they both give last night, you could expect them to miss anything. I thought it was a really good point that Jimmy White made, that, you know, so many people have missed so many important balls, and you know, we've all done it. So I hope he doesn't be too hard on himself. Well, playing this red for the second time. And well, this could be one of the quickest opening frames ever. If he misses it again, it's game over. You can see a red full ball. He's got the cue power, Dave Gilbert, to take on that red to the right corner, screw back towards Bork.
Yeah,
I mean, for him to play that red on the back cushion and refuse this one. It's like he half expected to miss it before he played it. And Philip's dead right. Matthew Stevens now is playing a lot better game than he was a year or 2 ago.
Yes, Joe.
I won't say he's back to his best, Philip, but he's certainly on the way back.
There have definitely been glimpses, haven't there? And as Jimmy referenced in the studio just now, Gilbert, on the other hand, has really gone off the boil. I think there's no doubt that he's really struggled with the lockdown environment. And that's evidenced in his results, which have been modest this season.
Well, Dave Gilbert, a little fortunate there not to have left the red on. The easy red to the left corner, but that's a good pot from Matthew Stevens. That's a real confidence, early confidence building shot.
And he has a winning record over Gilbert. 5 wins to 3, including most recently this year's Welsh Open, 4-2.
Wow, just caught that near knuckle and stayed out. What's left? Dave Gilbert. Nice easy one to start with.
1.
Well, he could play off the Bork cushion for the pink if he's brave, but he's lacking in confidence. I think you can tell that.
He did manage to beat Sean Murphy in the Champion of Champions this season, but that's really the only notable result for Gilbert. The 7 tournaments he's contested coming into this Scottish Open. Lost to Rob Milkins in the round of 64 at the UK Championship. But we know what a class act he is. He's been in 4 ranking finals. Of course, he came within an ace of making the world final against John Higgins a couple of seasons back.
And there's no doubt in his ability, Philip. It's his confidence. It's lacking at the moment.
Undoubtedly, along with Jack Lazowski, one of the best players yet to win a ranking title. He's come mighty close. Not least at the World Open a couple of years ago when he was 4 up with 5 to play against Mark Williams. Couldn't quite get over the line. He was ahead against Kyron Wilson in the final of the German Masters before Kyron came back to win 9-7. But he's one of those players, Joe, who you feel once he gets his first, the floodgates get open.
Yeah, he's got the ability without a doubt, and loads of natural ability. Love watching him play when he's in amongst the balls and he's confident. A slight problem here. Don't think he can see enough of the reds to the right of the pack to be able to play the safety back down the table. So just a little bit of bother here. The path down the left side, fraught with danger. Could see enough of the red, so the escape. Having a look at the very thin cut to the left corner. Should be okay to miss the reds. Beyond the pink guaranteed. That's a good pot. Oh, I'm saying he'd be on the red, pink guaranteed, unless he gets the cover like that. Very good pot, clean. Well, again, he's unfortunate. Could have been a lot easier, this.
Eight.
Good chance, this. Dave Gilbert. Looking to see if the black will go, but he could leave an angle on the red above the black to bring it into play. This is the important shot, to be able to land on the red. He's come a little bit too far to play the
14.
cannon. Should be able to get back to the pink.
$15.
Just having a look at those 2 reds to see if they will go, but the one to the left of the black will go. If they don't. So good chance, this.
21. $20. 22.
It's pretty quick as well when he gets in amongst the reds.
28. $29.
He reached the semi-finals of this tournament last season, Gilbert. Beaten 6-1 by his friend and practice partner Selby, who of course went on to win the title, and also reached the final in this series of the English Open, of course, last year when Selby handed out an even bigger thrashing, 9-1. He was irresistible that day. It was one of the most complete performances of Selby's career, and Gilbert just didn't get a look in.
$36.
So he obviously thinks that this will go. He's hoping that the black doesn't spot.
$43.
The red still goes, so he needs to finish high on the black here.
44.
It's okay. A gentle cannon to the red. He doesn't want to push it to the cushion. If you can't get the cannon, then just run through. It's tight, the cannon.
$51. $52.
Very fluent cueist at his best, Dave Gilbert. Very good to watch. Silky smooth with his cue action.
59.
Gets on with it.
Yeah, like you say, very good to watch. 51 points, the
60.
difference. So the black and Matthew Stevens can only tie. So needs another red. Well, this will do his confidence a world of good.
67.
But he's got to finish it now. And both reds are missable.
$68.
Yeah, good shot. Frame ball.
Stevens resigned to going 1-0 behind. And I think it's just confidence that's missing from Gilbert's game, nothing else. So if he could string some wins
75.
together here, he could very quickly find the old form.
He's took these very well, hasn't he?
David Gilbert, 75, and the frame.
Should be enough.
75, more than enough for Dave Gilbert to strike first against Matthew Stevens. The first of four, of course, to go through to the round of 64. Gilbert leads 1-0. So we've got plenty to look forward to, of course, today on the first day of the Scottish Open. Mark Selby will be in action, fingers crossed, at some point against Juan Sijun. Of course, we've got Mark Allen against Jimmy White. That's coming up at the conclusion of this match here on table 1. Mark Allen, a former Scottish Open champion, of course, in the home nations back in 2018. Beat his good friend Sean Murphy, coming from behind in the final session to win. He played outstandingly well in the Champion of Champions this season, winning that. And of course, Jimmy, well, still working very hard at his game, still passionate about practice, and he'll fancy his chances if he can bring his match form, the practice form, I should say, to the match table. So that's coming up at the conclusion of this match. Later on today, it'll be Jack Lazowski against Ollie Lines. And then our final match today, Kyron Wilson taking on Germany's Simon Lichtenberg. Welcome back. Just the start that Dave Gilbert was looking for, given his modest beginning to this new season. Cued very nicely, making a break of 75 to get the first frame against Matthew Stevens. If you're wondering why it's Dave Gilbert against Matthew Stevens first up on the main channel, we will, of course, due to bring you Mark Selby against Juan Sijun of China. Selby defending his title, but as a result of delayed COVID test results, the players unable to take to the table as yet. This is a more than adequate substitute. Two great cueists, both attacking players, both capable of scoring very heavily. It's Gilbert who strikes first. I mentioned that Stevens leads the head-to-head 5 wins to 3. Last meeting in the home nations, the 2020 Welsh Open, which Stevens won 4 frames to 2. And there's another good long red. The confidence appears to be building.
Well, that nice break in the last frame at 75. They've given him a bit of confidence. Good pot. Not ideally on the blue. But the 2 reds to the left of the pink can easily get to those 2 with the green.
The winner of this match will play the Jamie Jones or Daniel Wells in the round of 64.
Well, if there's any doubt about the pink going to the middle, can play the screw back. Possible plant there as well to this left corner. Times the ball so well. Didn't hardly hit that one. Comes back perfectly onto the blue.
Good.
Just a little heavy for the blue. Trying to leave an angle on the blue to open the reds up.
40.
That's not a good positional shot unless he plays the plant. He could have done with being directly behind these two reds. Make it a little bit easier. He's playing it though.
David Gilbert 14.
Say he needed to be directly behind those to make it an easy plant. Well, that's freed the black. Now, can he get to the potting angle of this red to the right corner? Miss the black. Obviously not.
Matthew Stevens has never ventured beyond the last 16 of any Home Nations event. He did achieve that round here at the Scottish Open 2 years ago. Most recently at this season's English Open. And as Jimmy mentioned, he has got a recent win over Ronnie O'Sullivan on the CV. And that's a terrific pot.
He struck it so well, didn't he? He's on the pink, but very, very difficult to get to the next red. 6 points. Not as beneficial as a good safety.
Just 1.
Slides a little bit, new cloth, and he's left a red on. Just having a look to see if the black will pass that red into the left corner. Well, he could go into them, but he could also play for that red to the left of the black, which clears the black area. Black attainable to both
7.
pockets.
Stevens' highlight last season was a run to the quarterfinals of the UK Championship. He beat Mark Selby by the odd frame in that tournament before losing 6-4 to Stephen Maguire, the eventual runner-up to Ding Junhui.
14.
Yeah, he's a lovely player, Matthew Stevens. Been in 2 world finals. Should definitely have won one of them when he was leading Mark Williams 13-7.
And he led Sean Murphy overnight 10-6. 2005 before Murphy won 18-16 on the final day. 4 other Crucible semi-finals. He's always saved his best for the biggest tournaments.
22.
He's played a good shot here. He's left himself high on this red so that he can pot it, open the reds up. Now, he doesn't need to hit them too hard. Beyond the pink, if he just pulls it back a few inches.
23.
Just pulled it back a little too much, but he's still on it, so he should be okay.
29. 30.
Both players seem to be playing well when they get the chance. When he takes this red, it frees another one to the left corner. He's also got the other one that's near the right corner pocket.
38.
So looking good, this. Choice of two reds, the way he's played the shot.
46.
Nice little nudge on the red, which develops those two to the left corner. Oh, he's missed the pink. He's missed the pink. All he was thinking about there is holding the spot. Didn't look like a kick. Just a careless misser. Just, you can't understand how you miss a shot like that. He'll have a reason, no doubt.
These are the kind of frames that really hurt if you go on to lose, having had the frame in the palm of your hand. Gilbert's still got a bit of work to do. Yellow's awkward, but Stephen's still sure puzzled by how that pink stayed out when he was pretty close to wrapping up the frame.
Yeah, you wouldn't need the difficult pink unless you took small colours from these reds. Important, he looks at the score.
17.
Nicely played.
24.
You can take a black, then Matthew Stevens could only tie if he could get down to the pink. Hello, not easy.
25.
It's a good angle on the black. And that looks okay. Yellow favours a right-handed player. I thought he had the angle to stand down towards the yellow, but he didn't quite have the angle. It wasn't a natural angle to get there. So played the cue ball into a position whereby he can play a very good safety.
Gilbert, 32.
Well, relief primarily for Matthew Stevens that a simple miss pink hasn't cost him the frame at least, but it's back in the balance. So important to get off the mark early in these best of 7 frame matches. There's not too much room to manoeuvre if you lose the first 2.
Oh, no miss. David Gilbert, 4.
looks more difficult from where the cue ball is. That's to put it back. But he doesn't have to play the thin cut. He can play in behind the yellow, send the yellow down the table, leave the cue ball in the balk area. He can play it full ball. Could also play that. It looked a more difficult shot from the cue ball near the right corner pocket. So now Dave Gilbert doesn't need the pink and Matthew Stevens does. Judged it well. Cue ball where the yellow is. I just didn't catch it full enough.
Dave now in his 40th year. He's a young 39. One of snooker's late bloomers. It's only really in the last 2 or 3 seasons that he's really established himself as one of the very best players in the world, safely ensconced inside the top 16. Of course, that run to the semi-finals of the World Championship and very nearly the final. Just underline the fact that he belongs amongst the game's best, and that's a mistake from Matthew Stevens.
Yeah, big mistake. How can he get to the green? You could play this with a lot of left-hand side to check the cue ball back, or you could play it with the other side. Try and go down by the pink.
2.
He needs it to miss the brown and bounce. Not ideal.
David Gilbert 2.
Stevens can prevail in this frame. He can, of course, forget about the pink. If he loses it, cause something of a hangover in the frames ahead. Flat now safer as a result of Stevens' last shot, but neither of them need it.
Not as yet, anyway. It's a mistake from Matthew. He played to hit the black with the green, which would have left the green where the black is. It would have been a pretty good safety, but he missed the black. Pot took the risk on the in-off. Nicely on the brown. Brown and blue needed.
Seven.
Yes, this is going to hurt Matthew Stevens. It looked as though he was going to level the match before he missed the short-range ping to the left centre pocket.
12.
And Dave Gilbert is stretching his lead, putting himself in a very strong position. Stevens has got to try and raise that from his memory now. Vastly experienced, so I'm sure he will be able to, but he'll be irritated for sure, to put it mildly. Stevens remains in his chair. And Dave Gilbert extends his advantage in this first round match at the Marshall Arena at the Scottish Open. It's day one of the third leg of the Home Nations. It's Dave Gilbert who leads 2-0. While we wait for the players to resume at the start of frame 3, let's have a look at some of the results already today. Stephen Maguire leaps out from that page, whitewashed by Zach Shurty, last season's UK finalist, Tour Championship winner, beaten without winning a frame today. Michael Holt, the reigning shootout champion, safely through. Nigel Bond seeing off one of our two Scottish wildcards. Gary Thompson, who actually led that match 2-1 at one stage. Sunny Akani of Thailand. Mark Joyce. Ben Wollaston, who's inflicted 2 victories this season in the space of 2 weeks over the new UK champion. Neil Robertson is safely through. Alan McManus getting the better of Zhao Guodong. Jack Jones, one of the most improving players on the tour, has beaten Yan Bingtao, the youngest ever ranking event finalist at the Northern Ireland Open, part of the Home Nations. 4-1. Ricky Walden also through against Pang Jungju. That's a good result, given that Pang has caused a few upsets already this season. But Zach Shurty, 4-0 against Steve Maguire. That is a surprise. Great result for Zach. Congratulations to him. So that's what's happened already today. Welcome back. Matthew Stevens looking pretty exasperated, and no wonder. Sat out the first frame to a break of 75 from Dave Gilbert, but looked as though he was going to take the second, missed this pink, and his reaction was that something had happened that was beyond his control there. It didn't appear to be a kick anyway. Dave Gilbert eventually punished him for that, potting frame ball blue and leaving said pink right over the yellow pocket. Stevens conceded. So Gilbert halfway to a place in the second round in a meeting with either Jamie Jones or Daniel Wells. Just a reminder for those of you joining us late that we were, of course, due to bring you defending Scottish Open champion Mark Selby's first round match with Juan Sijun, but their COVID test results have been delayed. So until they come back, of course, they can't take to the table. Coming up next, though, it's the whirlwind Jimmy White against the champion of champions winner this season, Mark Allen.
Tasty. Very tasty. Not often we get to see Jimmy playing on TV nowadays, so a rare treat.
Yes, the last of Jimmy's 10 ranking titles was played in Scotland. It was the 2004 Players' Championship. He defeated his very good friend, the late Paul Hunter, in that final. Final that Hunter contested 2004. Seems like yesterday.
Well, I'm pretty sure he played to hit the reds higher up, and he played a similar shot in the last frame where cue ball just slid further than what he anticipated. So you would have thought that he would have learned from that last one and just aimed a little bit higher, but he's left a chance by not allowing for the slide.
1.
That's a good pot at that speed to get the right side of the blue. Goes without saying that Matthew Stevens needs this frame, otherwise his chances are going to be very slim.
And in the process, Joe get the second frame out of his system as quickly as possible.
Yep, he was in full control till he missed that easy pink.
6.
Now the red next to the black looks as though it goes, and that's going to free the black. Good positional shot that, because any higher and he wouldn't have been on that red.
7.
It's only a small fraction into an area that he could play. For the red to the right middle. Pink's available, as is the black. Has he come far enough? Yep, good shot. He wasn't sure. Played it in such a way that he was going to block the pocket with the black had he missed it.
20.
You can tell that he's almost back to playing really good top-class snooker. It's just the odd shot here and there. If you look at his positional play, spot on. Pots are going in cleanly, except for that pink in the last frame, which maybe was just a lack of concentration. I'd have to ask him afterwards. Doesn't like playing with the rest, but that doesn't mean to say he's terrible with it. Just doesn't like playing with it. Very rare him see him miss with the rest. But he can play left-handed. He's got the big extension on the cue, the small one. And he told me that he practices with the rest quite a lot. Practice your faults. Practice the shots you don't like.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
34.
And of course, there's a natural reluctance to do that. Even Judd Trump has said that There was a time when
35.
all he'd really do in his practice sessions would be the line-ups and practice his long potting. Safety was certainly not on the agenda, unless his brother, who started travelling with him, of course, Jack, forced him to do it, and it's paid off because it's made him an even more formidable player. His
42.
practice sessions have become more regimented, more disciplined since he linked up with his brother and travelled round the tour with him, and well, look at the results.
Yep, absolutely. Practice what you don't like. Now, he's got a little bit of a problem here. If he plays for the pink, it's very difficult to open the reds up from the pink. Looking for plants. Anything. Possible plant to the left corner, but not quite there. Could go up for the blue and go into them from the blue. Leave a high angle on the black. Now, is that a plant to the left corner? It's not quite to the middle, but maybe to the left corner it is. Didn't quite see that.
Forty-three.
Yeah, not the best positional shot. He's been spot on with his positional play so far. In fact, his very first shot that he played into the left middle was a good shot to get the cue ball the right side of the middle pocket. He had to play it at strength.
48.
And this is it. I mean, he could have just dropped it in dead weight and played the blue in and out of balk, but he got the right side of the blue. Very confident shot, that.
Yeah, and particularly impressive given it was that pocket that he missed the much simpler pink in the previous frame. He really took that one on with great conviction, didn't he, and got it.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, but he's missed that one, has he?
Yep.
It says 48.
Yep, trying to leave an angle on the black. Now, what will Dave Gilbert play here? He could go straight into the reds. And the reason why I suggest that is because it's difficult to get onto the black to be able to bust them. So, confident player.
1.
Maybe go straight into them. And that's what I'm talking about. He hasn't left himself the best angle. Now looking at the plant. And if it is a plant, no need to have gone into them. Thinks it is.
8.
Matthew Stevens looked at it. It is a plant.
9.
And it is. Another red developed as well. Very
was 9.
surprising. He didn't like it. He got back up again, got back down, and still missed it.
Well, the pink's proving to be a problem ball for both players. Missed it by quite a margin, didn't he? Hit it flush on the jaw. So, Matthew Stevens back in.
1.
Feel as though, realistically, he has to win this frame. We have seen many examples of players winning best of sevens from 3 down with 4 to play, but
Yeah, it would be tough. And he's just overrun again slightly there, Matthew. Doubt he'll pot it and go into them, but just give himself... Yep, and that's worked out.
8.
It's worked out okay.
9.
Thought he would have screwed back. Left himself hampered. Yeah, you're right about that pink. I was playing it with a lot of left-hand side on the cue ball to try and come round for the reds, which he has done.
Yeah, look at the table now. Once again, Stevens not able to kill the frame off. Nothing safe.
Well, he's a top 16 player, Dave Gilbert, and you would expect him to clear from here.
One.
Hasn't come far enough back for the blue. So a little bit more difficult now from the pink. Anxious moments these now for Matthew Stevens. Already said 3-0. Very difficult to come back from. Not impossible. Little shake of the head because he knows it. He should have been nicely on the blue. He would have had an easy next red. I don't think he played that.
7.
I think he played the other side of the pink, the red. This is the miss. Lots of left-hand side on the cue ball. Lots of left-hand side to gain position, but he would have potted that 99 out of 100.
8.
He holds his hands up for being on the red because he didn't play that. Both players know it. Red will go to the middle if he doesn't want to go into them.
David Gilbert.
Another
8.
miss black. Wow, there's some misses here. Both players knowing the importance of this frame.
And I think that's further evidence of the lack of confidence that Dave Gilbert is experiencing at the moment coming into this tournament. Even though he's 2-0 in front, he's not had many wins of late. And is still perhaps doubting himself a little. And what a let-off for Stevens. He would have feared the worst there. But now he can relax. He's got a foothold in this match. And
7.
he'll be mindful of the fact that Gilbert hasn't been pulling up trees recently. So this one
8.
could still have some way to travel.
Thirteen. Just 13 and the frame.
So Matthew Stevens has his first frame. Dave Gilbert had the chance to steal. Couldn't take it. An error-strewn frame, but it's gone to Stevens, who trails 2-1. So Dave Gilbert leading, but none too convincingly, despite the opening break of 75, which he took very well. Since then, both players have made mistakes. Gilbert had a clear chance there to make it 3-0, and that would have eased the pressure, but now he knows Matthew Stevens is just a frame behind, and given his lack of positive results of late, still going to take quite an effort, you would think, to get over the line in this one. Just a reminder that up next on the main table, Jimmy White taking on Mark Allen. Once again, for those of you who've joined the party late, and I wouldn't blame you if you were staying up to see the denouement last night at the UK Championship. Mark Selby, of course, was due to be our first match as defending champion, beating Jack Lazowski 12 months ago in Glasgow up against China's Wang Xijun, but there have been delays getting the COVID test results back, so Selby yet to take to the table. That's why we're bringing you Dave Gilbert against Matthew Stevens. Got a whole host of great matches to look forward to as this week unfolds. It's the third leg, of course, of the Home Nations. Judd Trump having won the first two. And Trump and the new UK champion Neil Robertson are both competing in this tournament. Trump having to try and immediately get over the disappointment of missing the pink with the black at his mercy to claim his second UK title. Neil Robertson walking away with his third in one of the most epic finals and the most dramatic that we've seen in the history of that great tournament. This is the fifth incarnation of the Scottish Open. Mark Selby looking to become the second player in the Home Nation Series to successfully defend a title, Judd Trump being the only other player to have done it. £70,000 goes to the winner on Sunday, along with the trophy. So Dave Gilbert still in front here at the Marshall Arena, but he'll probably be disappointed nonetheless not to be 3-0 in front. This is the pink that was missed by Gilbert, and then Stevens missed that one to give Gilbert the chance to clear up, only for him to miss the black off its spot. So it was a catalogue of errors really there, Joe, at the back end of that frame.
Yeah, and it's going to hurt Dave Gilbert more than anything else because he knows that black could have given him a 3-0 lead. They were all there for the taking. There was nothing easy. It was just stun, stun, stun. These are the kind of things that really sap your confidence when you know that you've lost a frame and it's down to you. So we know how Judd Trump will be feeling when he's lost a tournament. It's in that pink. Chance here. Could miss the black. Poor safety from Dave Gilbert. When you've thrown away a frame, it's doubly important that you don't play any loose safeties and miss pots in the next frame. And straight away, Dave Gilbert has left an opportunity.
Three. Four.
It's the extension, the small extension. He's got another one that fits on the bottom. That's 3 times the size of that one. So he doesn't have to use the rest.
Stevens,
Well,
4.
there's no excuse for it. Didn't kick. appear to kick it just a miss. Look, watch this again.
It's so often the case, isn't it, that when one player starts to miss, it can become contagious.
Yeah, I agree.
Contagion has very much been the watchword for 2020.
It's also amazing that when you miss frame ball, it's very difficult to get over it if you're not mentally strong. And at this moment in time, for whatever reason, Dave Gilbert is going through a period where his confidence is lacking. Really, it shouldn't be, because he's such a tremendous player.
1.
And even though he led 2-0, that's not apparently done anything to boost his confidence. When you're in that kind of downward spiral, it's quite difficult to get out of it. Winning and losing can become a habit. Equally, if one of these players starts to fire, it could well inspire the other to do likewise.
It looks like he's on the red, but when the black comes back up,
8.
he's not on it. The red above, I think he played for. And it will cut into this right corner. Nicely done.
9.
Didn't want the kiss on the reds. And that spoiled his position, his positional play somewhat. No.
It was 9.
Well, you may have heard Matthew Stevens' result. Words there after that result. Unbelievable. He's really struggling. And he has been playing some pretty good stuff recently, Matthew Stevens. I mentioned that victory over Ronnie O'Sullivan this season at the English Open. And he played really well today. A lot of errors he wouldn't normally make. Of course, Dave Gilbert has been similar.
Well, if that blue had kicked, the cue ball would have thrown past the reds. But it didn't. It went into the reds. This looks good. Excellent safety from Matthew there. Caught them too thick, and again leaves a chance. Most players miss the ball to start with just to get the line of the shot.
One.
Struggling. He's 2-1 up and struggling.
guess it's a case of who's going to grab this match by the scruff of the neck.
Seven. Thirteen.
Now, if it's high on this red, it might just be able to play the cannon to the red and stay on the black.
14.
He didn't need to play the cannon. He could stun past it. That red will go to the right corner now. If it works out, and it has done,
29.
it's got a great chance here. 3 reds should do it, and there's 3 reds
30.
available. Red at the back of the pack there will go. Also the red next to the black. I'd like to be straight on this red to be able to get to the black.
35.
Would have done with being closer to it actually. It's overrun, so now it's going to be a cannon. It's got to go into those reds now. It's another red in the colour. And that's not ideal. You can pot it,
43.
but it's not ideal. Good pot. 56 the lead. He needs another colour. With that red. Could push a colour safe. Could pot the blue, drop the green in slow. Doesn't have to play position.
Rainbow. Stevens, 44.
Been quite a few reactions like that from Matthew this afternoon. So things are malfunctioning and he's not quite sure why.
Oh, I think it put a colour safe there. Nothing safe. If Dave Gilbert does get a chance.
57 the difference, 59 on.
He's pushed a red safe himself there. chance here. Put this frame to bed.
Sorry? Thank you. Oh, David Gilbert, 4.
Yep, nicely played. Cue ball's just held up.
He had a chance to steal the previous frame before missing a black off its spot. Dave Gilbert can conjure something here and put himself within one of victory.
With this blue. It's going to be
6.
47 in the game.
.51 on. Oh my goodness,
6.
that is incredible. Well, we saw quite a few errors in last night's UK Championship final epic, and we've seen quite a few today. Was one of the more remarkable ones.
1.
Again, Stevens will be highly delighted to have won a reprieve there because there was nothing safe.
Eight. Nine. Mike Stevens frame.
And Dave Gilbert happy to let the frame end there with Matthew Stevens well over the winning line. It's been error-strewn stuff from this pair, and it's 2 frames all. So all to play for then, 2 frames all. Let's just remind you of the roll of honour for the season so far. Mark Selby started very impressively by winning that cracking final against Martin Gould to win the European Masters. Of course, Selby won 2 Home Nations events last season, the first player to win 2 in a single campaign. And then Judd Trump, of course, with the English Open and the Northern Ireland Open back-to-back to match Selby's feat. So Trump making it 3 out of 3 if he can win this one. Goodness me. Of course, there's no £1 million bonus this season if you win all 4, which was thought to be unthinkable. But who knows, if Trump could rouse himself after the disappointment of the UK Championship final, well, he's still the man to beat, clearly, the runaway world #1. These are the centuries that have been made already, and that's a personal battle, isn't it, between Robertson and Trump. They've been overtaking one another throughout the last couple of weeks, and it's Robertson at the moment who holds sway. Of course, he made a record-breaking 13 centuries in the UK Championship on his way to the title. Trump with 38. Incredible, really, when you consider how early we are in the season. Mark Allen in 3rd place there. He played brilliantly to win the Champion of Champions. And this is the all-time list. Ronnie O'Sullivan still way out in front. But you've got to think that by the time they've packed away their cues for good, Neil Robertson and Judd Trump will have eclipsed him, given that they're that bit younger, although, of course, Trump is still only 31, Robertson now 38. O'Sullivan has just celebrated his 45th birthday. John Higgins there with 804. And then you've got Mark Selby, one off 650, Ding Junhui and Sean Murphy. Welcome back. Well, Dave Gilbert continuing to struggle as he's done for most of this season so far. Led 2-0, started well enough with a really nice break of 75, but since then all kinds of misses, and perhaps none more glaring than the one in the previous frame. He missed a black off its spot when he had the chance to lead 3-1, and then he was in again with the chance to steal in the frame just gone. Another error, and it means Matthew Stevens has tied the match. So all to play for, 2-all, neither really convincing so far. And it's anyone's guess, Joe, as to who's going to prevail, given what we've seen to this point.
Well, you can look at the body language now, Dave Gilbert, and you know he's not come to... He's in bits, actually, because, as you say, he should have led 3-0, and then he should have led 3-1. You know, he had a great chance there. There was nothing safe, and he missed the simplest of reds. And I have no reason, I have no idea why. I have no reason to add to why he's missing easy balls. Matthew Stevens is missing his own share as well. How do you get yourself together? And when you're already having a difficult season, how do you get yourself together and pick yourself up and play this game with confidence when you have none? Hopefully it can all change for Dave Gilbert, because he's a lovely lad and he's got great ability, but so is this man. What a terrific pot. Screwing the cue ball into the balk area just in case. Great opening pot.
Matthew Stevens 1.
Just the 1 point, but control of the table, you never know. Could lead to something bigger if Dave Gilbert makes an error here and trying to get out of the snooker.
Oh,
He's been misjudging
Matthew Stevens 4.
getting out of snookers, hasn't he?
Could easily have left that red at the bottom of the pack, but hasn't done, so it's going to go back. Doesn't look happy, does he, Dave? He is struggling at the moment. Such a good player, but his form for the time being has deserted him. He's got to keep working hard, and eventually things will turn. Much better this time. Again, Stevens well short with his safety. He would have wanted that to be on the baulk cushion.
Well, can he get through? Say yes from this camera angle. Doesn't like it though, and I don't blame him. The black doesn't go. He'd have to screw it back for the pink, which makes the shot even more difficult. When Phil's been... Well, you take a risk when you play it so slowly. You take a risk that the cue ball won't run off, but it looks okay. Always take a risk with the cue ball going in that corner when you play that kind of shot. Seen it happen many times. Cue ball disappears and you play the long red, end of frame. Gonna finish. I think you can see both reds over both corners. It's a long way away from that.
One.
So, good chance this. The ball's, well, at his mercy really. You could do with clearing that red nearest the black. Makes it easy to get
8.
onto the black. This is the best red to take. A little bit more difficult, but
9.
now he's got a clear path to the black from both sides.
Neither player has been immune, clearly, from the errors, but Stevens, Joe, looks the more convincing of the two right now.
17.
He'll be picking up on the fact that Gilbert is really struggling. See this as a great opportunity to progress, particularly if he can put together something substantial here.
The red directly above the black would be a good red to play. It releases another red to the right corner. Got to get onto the black to be able to get to that red. May be able to run through the two cushions. Take that red into the left corner. No, not quite got the angle. Another good red to play though, this one.
33.
Makes it easier to get to those two reds by the pink spot. Now, he can get to that red just above the black this time round. Delicate little shot with a touch of left-hand side on the cue ball to hold for it. Again, important not to be straight.
41.
He could play the cannon to those two reds directly above the black. That would leave him on the red to the left corner. Doesn't have to play that shot.
49.
A couple of times already this afternoon, Stevens has been on the cusp of winning a frame, only to then miss surprisingly, so he'll be doubly keen to kill this off in one visit.
No, he's played a good positional shot there. I thought he was going to play for the two reds into the left middle. Nothing wrong with that. Is it a little switch to left-handed? It is. And he is pretty good left-handed. Not the Ronnie O'Sullivan class, but he's good.
7.
Look at that. Screwing down the table. That's proper left-handed stuff.
Yellow, red, and one more colour should do it for Stevens, barring snookers. It's brown or better.
So just the blue needed. Matthew Stevens 1-3 on the bounce. So close. So close. But he should be safe. One snooker needed, so he could do with this red in. Good pot.
66.
Well, this is easily Stevens' best snooker of the afternoon. He's picked his game up. Dave Gilbert, you'd have to say, has let him off the hook the last couple of frames when he had chances to steal.
72.
Missed two, for him, routine balls. Now, he's got to win the last two.
73. $75. 76.
Let's go to the middle or certainly the baulk corner. Green pocket. Made 3 centuries this season. 325 in his career.
84.
And the century's still on.
$91.
Worth another look.
92.
How many times do we see that happen? Normally it's the black end of the table.
Yeah, we've even seen flukes the length of the table a few times this season.
Oh, what a shame.
No century then, but a break of 92 is comfortably the best snooker Matthew Stevens has produced this afternoon. He's now won 3 consecutively. He needs just one more. He leads Dave Gilbert 3-2. So Matthew Stevens on the cusp then, from 2-0 behind. Dave Gilbert continuing to struggle as he has so far this season. Just to bring you up to date with what is proving to be a slightly unusual first day of the Scottish Open insofar as a number of COVID tests have been delayed in coming back with results. And so, of course, our feature match was due to be Mark Selby against Juan Sijun first up, but they've not been able to take to the table as yet. We don't know how long that state of affairs is going to continue, and they're not the only players affected by that by any means. So at the moment, beyond this match, we're not sure when our next match will be or who it will feature, but clearly we will keep you up to date with developments. In the meantime, Dave Gilbert has got to try and muster some confidence from somewhere. Think about maybe, Joe, some of his great wins of the last few seasons, the fact that he got to the semi-finals of the World Championship, 4 ranking finals. He knows how good he is. He's just got to try and break this cycle he's in at the moment.
Yeah, it's so hard to do, though, Philip. You know, once you're in this kind of frame, your mind just cannot grasp how good you are. And we all know how good he is. We've seen him play. And my word, he's something special. He's a natural player who can play the game as good as anybody. But he's just struggling for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is, but we've all been there. You know, we have a lapse of form, and it normally lasts 3 or 4 months, sometimes a season. But if you're good enough, you get over it.
Yeah, well, they say, don't they, that class is permanent, form is temporary, and there's no doubt that Dave Gilbert will get back to winning ways, and he may yet win today, but he's going to have to dig deep now to make it happen. So last season's English Open runner-up and Scottish Open semi-finalist Dave Gilbert now in trouble, having led 2-0, made a good break, remember, of 71 in the first frame, but since then all kinds of errors from short range. Matthew Stevens wasn't immune either. That was a fluke that didn't matter because he'd already won the frame. But Stevens right now is looking the stronger player, and he's just 1 away from the second round and a meeting with either Jamie Jones or Daniel Wells. Can he kill the match off here, or can Gilbert take us all the way?
One.
Oh, great pot. Great pot. And deserved better position, really. This is tough. Dropping it in dead weight across the nap of the table. Another very good pot. 2 excellent pots from Dave Gilbert. Now that could just
8.
do his confidence a little bit of good. Just a little short of pace. May be able to hold for the black, but it shouldn't be a problem going down for the blue from there. It's going to have to go for the blue.
25.
Just overrun slightly. Straighter on the blue, he can place the cue ball wherever he wants. Could play a slow cannon to the pink, but it's a little bit risky, that. Yeah, well held. Maybe a red to the right corner as well. He hasn't looked at yet. That was well held, that shot.
31.
And that's better. That's where you want to be on the blue, to be able to get to the next red. You don't have to play those really tender screw shots that he just played. Well, sign of a great player. You can summon something from somewhere.
37.
But you can only summon it if it's there. It's certainly there with Dave Gilbert. He's got everything.
Yeah, and I reckon knocking in that long red probably released some of the pent-up frustration he must be feeling about the way he's played.
Yeah, because there was a lot of pressure on that shot. He was leaving reds on had he missed it. Brave shot to take on the way he was feeling, to be fair.
And the black, as you mentioned, every bit as good, because that was awkward cueing, the kind of shot where when you're struggling can easily be jawed and you're leaving the world on if you miss.
Correct.
Thinking behind the pack with no room for it on its own spot. Desislava Bosilova, our referee, of course.
He's underhit it, so it's the first poor positional shot. Another little tester here.
49.
It's not just the red that he needs now. It's an angle on the colour to be able to go into the reds and win the frame at this visit. I don't think that red goes to the middle.
50.
There goes the red. A little too straight on the black. Just looking at a possible plant. No, looking to see if that red will go. If it doesn't, then the only other thing I can think of is maybe the double. That same red, but a double. It wouldn't leave anything that Reddy was playing. It's tight. It's very tight to the middle. He's had a really good look at it though. He could play for the double if he finished nearly parallel to that red. Now he thinks it goes, so
57.
soon find out. He needs another red after this in a colour, so just a matter of that red. Nicely played, nicely played. And now a nice angle on the black to go into them. And he shouldn't hold back here because he needs to hit them fairly hard. It's about the right speed. No, is he on anything?
63.
I don't think he's on anything easy. Didn't quite catch them full enough. He did hit them hard, but not full. He's got an extremely thin cut, red near the pink spot.
$64.
Oh, well played. Well played. And that cue ball, nearly came out of balk. But it's a good position to be in. Snooker behind the green. And nothing to land up to.
Yeah, easily the best snooker Gilbert's produced since the first frame when he stroked in that break of 75. Red hot favourite right now to take us to a decider.
Oh,
Got to hit them.
Gilbert, 4.
Otherwise he needs a snooker. He needs a snooker now. That eases the pressure. Dave Gilbert.
Because he needs a snooker, cue ball isn't replaced. But Gilbert now strong position to make it 3-all.
Yeah, just one snooker though. And look at the reds. If Matthew Stevens does get a chance. Disappointed with that. He played the red to the cushion. He's covered it, but it's still available where it is. That should be his last mistake of this frame. If the red goes in, we might see the nod from Matthew Stevens.
One.
So we are definitely headed to a final frame, and I guess that's fitting really. Both players have had their moments in this match. Both have made a lot of errors as well.
And they've both showed us what they can do as well, haven't they?
7.
A really good frame here, Dave Gilbert. Knocked in some good balls, good pressure balls. Opening with that long red to the left corner.
8.
His very first shot.
Yes, and all of that after Matthew Stevens' best snooker of the match, the break of 92. Dave Gilbert's most recent win over Stevens, of the 3 he's had in their 8 meetings, was the China Championship last year.
12.
Stevens having beaten him this year in the Welsh Open. This one's going to the wire.
David Gilbert, 12. And the frame.
So one more frame to come then to determine whether it'll be Dave Gilbert or Matthew Stevens through to the round of 64 of the Scottish Open. So just one frame to come. Still slightly in the dark as to when our next live match will be because of these delayed COVID test results. Of course, Mark Selby was due to start his defence first up this afternoon against China's Wang Xijun. One of the Chinese players who I think really stood out as being a special talent, a very natural player, when he first came on the scene. As Jimmy mentioned, he hasn't really kicked on from the promise he showed right at the beginning of his pro career. It was 2017 when he became a professional. He's currently ranked at 53. 43 is his highest earlier this year. And it was interesting to hear Ding Junhui's comments ahead of the UK Championship. Ding, of course, was the defending UK champion and has opened a brand new state-of-the-art academy this year in Sheffield for not only him, but for all the young Chinese players to use. And he was asked about why more Chinese players haven't established themselves at the top of the game as yet. And he's of the view that maybe their practice regime is not as disciplined as it might be, that although they're practicing often, are they practicing in the right way? And perhaps suggesting that quality rather than quantity is the way ahead, which was quite interesting to hear. Ding's very keen to bring the Chinese players on, and of course they all hold him in the very highest esteem for his huge achievements in the game. But Wang Xizhe against Mark Selby at some point in the first round of the Scottish Open. So, who's your money on now? Both players have begun to play much better after errors earlier in the piece. It could be a case of who gets in first does the damage.
Thank you.
Our first deciding frame of the Scottish Open. It will not be the last, that's for certain. Both players having picked their game up significantly in the last couple of frames. Matthew Stevens winning his third straight frame with easily his best break of the afternoon. Dave Gilbert responding in kind to take us all the way, having struggled himself since he led 2-0. So a one-frame shootout for the right to play either Jamie Jones or Daniel Wells in the last 64.
Yeah, very similar to the red that Dave Gilbert knocked in the last frame. Maybe the cue ball was slightly more away from the cushion, but only just. But no black available this time round, so not worth the risk. Black was available for Dave Gilbert last time round, which he duly potted. Looking at the possible plant there. Again, very risky red to take on, this red to the left corner. The black and the pink tied up. this red here. He could land up to that red, but he'd have to play it dead weight. Now could be just in the way of playing that shot. Red over the middle pocket, the one closest to the left middle, is causing him all kinds of problems because he can't just leave the cue ball on the black cushion. Oh, he didn't want the kiss. He caught the red a little bit too thick. Now, how important is that going to be? The black tied up, the pink difficult. If it goes to the right corner, then he's okay. If the pink goes into that right corner pocket, the black will only go into the left corner. This is a good red to take now. Pink to the middle. And a really good chance this. Just has to concentrate on the pink and the blue for the time being. The black, very risky to play onto.
Seven.
Does the pink go to the right corner? I think it does. Is that a good look at it? If not, then he could play that red. That's blocking the way for the pink going in there. Oh, it doesn't go. So we're going to have to play up for the blue, get the right side of it.
13.
He could have dropped lucky there being on this red. Especially if he can just play a gentle cannon, play the pink to the middle.
14.
Good enough. 3 reds just below the pink, all go to the left corner.
Hard to believe it was 2 decades ago, 20 years ago, that Matthew Stevens got the better of Ken in the Masters final.
21.
And 3 years later, added the UK Championship to his CV, beating Stephen Hendry. His only ranking title, incredibly.
2 great players he's beat there, though, to win ranking events.
Well, this is the thing. If you're only going to win 2, they're 2 pretty good ones, aren't they?
26.
2 good championships for sure, but beating the best players around at the time as well. Just shows his pedigree.
$27.
Dave looking pretty disconsolate in his chair there.
Yeah, just underscrewed it, and he's just wondering if he's going to get another chance. It was a tough safety shot he was in, to be fair.
And you feel for him. It's a tough old game, isn't it, when you're struggling?
And the other player knows it, and that gives them strength.
33.
He'll be back for sure, even assuming he doesn't get back into this match.
Too good. He's too good not to regain his form.
34. 38.
I'd have liked to have been on that red just below the pink, directly below the pink. That would have been a great red to be on, but he's always got the red over the middle if he doesn't like any of these reds. Two reds that are blocking the pink going into the right corner. Being a needle in his side.
39.
Nice little stun run through there. So easy to get that one wrong. Finish up the wrong side of the blue.
$44.
And he's just stunned too far. Played for the red below the pink. I say that because it makes the pink easier, the next colour easier to play on that red. Doesn't really want to play for the black at this stage. He's got the ideal angle on the red to be able to do that, but doesn't really want to play on the black.
45.
Didn't want to catch that red either, and he's out of position. So Dave Gilbert may be coming back to the table. And it was the poor positional shot from blue to the reds that caused the problem.
That's why it's so important, even when things are looking a bit bleak, that that chair you try and keep very much in the zone in case you get a chance, which Gilbert may well do now.
Maybe time to put a colour safe, give himself some insurance, because at this moment in time there's nothing safe really.
Brown though.
And not the brown, because you can get the brown off the cushion with the yellow. The yellow's safe, or the blue.
Stevens 45.
He's got it safe though.
Stevens clearly disappointed not to have clinched frame a match there, but it's a very handy lead. He now has the insurance of the brown in case Gilbert gets in. Want to be leaving this over the pocket.
Oh, and I think he can just about pot it, you know. Good pot. Yes, it looks like he can just about get that red. It's tough though, because Gilbert's got a good cue ball there. Looks like it's going into the reds as well, the cue ball. Great pot, and managed to avoid the reds.
1.
If he's not on a colour, I'm about to say he's going to be in deep trouble up behind the green, but full ball kiss. He can play the snooker behind the yellow.
And he's got another safer ball as well, just in case.
And that's 3 safe balls. Caught them much too thick.
Smile, but a roof for one.
cue ball's close.
Foul.
It's
David Gilbert,
close.
4.
It's in. So he lives again, Dave Gilbert. He had to put everything into the pot. Just unfortunate. Could have caught the angles, been on the blue. Been catching these pretty thick so far. Hit that one well though.
Doing the math, still plenty of points there for Dave Gilbert, of course, but the problem he's got is that he does get in. He's going to have a lot of work to do, but can he get through to the red?
Not directly. Could come off the cushion, try and pot it slowly to be on the black. Very risky.
Feels as though that 42-point lead for Matthew Stevens is actually growing, with the table becoming a bit messy. Things can change if Gilbert can get back in.
Well, bringing the safe red off the cushion, but he's got to cover that red over the left corner. That's not the way to do it. He needs a bit of luck here. I think he's had some. Catching the jaws of that corner pocket there could have been disastrous. And that's a good pot.
1.
Trouble is, he's put all the colours safe. So maybe just a little roll up to the brown. Doesn't want to push it over the middle pocket, so gently does it.
Matthew Stevens, 1.
43 points. The difference between the two players.
Foul. No miss. Matthew Stevens, 7.
Totally misjudged that. He's misjudged the cushions all day, really.
Have a look at that.
Started off with his first shot when he played off the side cushion and slid past the reds. Did it again couple of frames later. And done it again there. It slides because of the new cushions, new cloth.
Olivia Martial, who was busy in the UK Championship final. Hope he's put in for some overtime.
It was way out. I mean, way out there. To hit the black full in the face, he needs to be hitting close to the jaws of that corner pocket to land up behind the red. Different shot, but I like the shot that he played originally, just misjudged it, and he must be able to have the angle because he's hit the black, so needs to hit higher up the cushion. I don't think he can get to it that way. The red over the pocket, red above it. Stopping that. The shot that he played's all right. Just a slight adjustment.
Oh, that was
It's a good effort.
Stevens 4.
Well, another 4 points. So Matthew Stevens just needs one red. Will he take that long red on?
To put him 55 in front with only 51 left.
That's all he needed, as Philip said. So a slight chance, Dave Gilbert.
It feels like Dave Gilbert is walking through treacle at the moment.
It's got a stun away from the green as well. Just makes the shot a little bit more difficult. Played it well though, very well. Now, can he leave an angle on this next red to bring the other reds into play?
Six.
Hold it too well.
Seven.
Oh, he needed to be close to a colour. .47 in the game, so he needs a colour.
David Gilbert 7. Matthew Stevens frame and match.
Dave Gilbert has conceded, and you can feel his frustration right now. He's just not playing anywhere near the level he's capable of. He's suffering from a lack of confidence, and that's been evidenced today. All kinds of errors and another disappointing defeat, but a good win for Matthew Stevens from 2-0 behind. He is through by 4 frames to 3.